hormones, bullies, vampires, and serial killers. Just another day in middle school. What's up, everyone? It's Carrie, aka Nerdygirlcreates. Welcome back to my channel. It's Manga Monday, and today we are going to take a look at happiness. This is from Shuzo Oshimi, who also did Blood on the Tracks. If you haven't checked that review out, go ahead and do so after this video. But happiness is a little bit different from Blood on the Tracks. Blood on the Tracks kind of focuses more on a disturbing relationship between a mother and son. This one focuses on a group of middle schoolers. It first starts off with a kid named Makoto, who he's having a hard time. He is the target of bullies. They don't really beat him up. They just kind of make him use his money to buy them lunch and everything and kind of make him their servant. And he just goes along with it because he doesn't want it to escalate to the next level. He's not really happy. He's only got one friend who's kind of been where he has been. One night, a series of attacks starts to occur in his town, and his mother worries about him going out on his own, but he chooses to do so, and he's suddenly attacked by a mysterious girl. And when he wakes up, he's in the hospital. He's very thirsty constantly, and he realizes he has like 2 puncture holes on his neck. So yes, we know where this is going. Things start to get really weird for Makoto when he goes back to school. He has this thirst. He has heightened senses. He finds himself unable to control himself at times, and he even at one point one of his bullies is pushing him. He ends up punching him in the face and breaking his nose. He's scared. It's not the normal, oh cool, I have superpowers now. No, he's frightened by these abilities. And some of his other friends end up getting pulled into this. There's a girl he meets that he ends up getting really close with. The bully and his girlfriend also get dragged into it. And chaos ensues. And in the midst of all this, too, we get introduced to a serial killer who has ties to the vampire in question. Now, as it goes along, you kind of get this. You get this feeling that happiness is definitely the opposite of what this story is. As you go along, you find out that these characters, including the vampires, the middle schoolers, the psychopath serial killer, they all are very unhappy. So it's kind of the opposite of what the title implies. Some of the kids are dealing with neglectful parents, or they have broken homes. They're dealing with school life where they're not happy, like Makoto with the bullying. You have the vampire she's been lonely for years, and suddenly when she meets Makoto, it kind of triggers memories of being human. So she decides she's not going to kill him and turn her into one like herself, hopefully to end her loneliness. The psychopath also is lonely. I don't want to get into too much because I really want you to read this. But it does really, and this is what I like about Oshimi's writing, especially with Blood on the Track. Nothing's just black and white. He really gets into like the personalities of each character, even if they're only briefly there. You kind of get insight of what is bothering them, what is their conflict, how they view the world, and exactly what led them to where they're at now. It's very, I guess you could say, humanizing these characters. You see Makoto has, unlike his other classmates, a really good relationship with his parents and his older brother. It's school that is giving him the hard time. But when his transformation starts, he realizes that, he's going to have to give up his school life. He's going to have to leave his family behind and his friends, and that really bothers him, and he's not ready for that, and he doesn't really want this life. He wants to go back to being a normal kid. It's the same with so many of these other characters. They kind of want to go back to a moment and prevent something from happening or change how something happens, and you'll understand that when you read the book. You also have a lot of other outside events occurring that influence what's going on in the main plot. It's very dark, and I would not recommend this for kids because there is some sexual gratuity in here, there is some violence, there is choice of language. Yeah, so this I would say is definitely 18 and up in my opinion. But it's a very good read. I have not gotten to the next volumes yet. I'm reading this digitally right now. But again, it's again with and I know I do this a lot. I repeat myself way too many times. But Oshimi really is good at kind of like bringing multiple layers to characters. You know, it's even like with Blood of the Tracks, the mother is not just what is presented. There's like more going on there, and you see the kind of breakdown with the son dealing with this realization about his mother. It's the same thing in this. It's like poor Makoto is just like horrified about what's happening to him. You know, he didn't seek it out. You know, he's not wowed by the abilities he's got. He's terrified. And I think that's kind of like a far more interesting take on a vampire transformation. He wants to just go back to school and yes, even deal with the bullies. He wants to, you know, sit at dinner with his family. You know, it sounds mundane and you know, to kind of like not want this extraordinary life of living forever and going around the world, but it's something he unfortunately has to accept, but he's going to do it very reluctantly. And the same thing happens with all the other characters as they watch their world change because of this one event. And it's just excellent writing. And the artwork itself is also really good. Again, what I was saying on the Blood and the Tracks review, um, Oshimi does a really good job of bringing out the emotional expressions in his characters with his art. Same thing here, like the horror of realizing what's happening when the vampire attacks, like the realization of Makoto when he is starting to develop his vampiric abilities. It really is, it's really well done. Again, this is Happiness. It is by Shuzo Oshimi. There is 10 volumes. I've been reading this online. You can find it on different apps. I recommend it. I think it's a really good vampire story. It's kind of unique in its way because, again, it's somebody who doesn't want this to happen to them. And the more they transform, the harder they are at fighting it off, trying to fight it off and prevent themselves from going down this path. And Makoto is not the only one who ends up experiencing this. Again, it's a really good like look at the reality what some kids this age go through outside of this whole vampire thing. You know, they don't all come from the perfect happy life, and those circumstances affect them in other areas. And I think that's kind of like the metaphor of this story. But yeah, I do recommend Happiness. Tell me, have you read it? Is there anything out for is there anything else from Oshimi that I should also be checking out? Go ahead, comment down below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.